chicken mole that we're gonna make. Just get some oil in the pan. And I have already pre-cut my chicken, and I've got it in strips, and I'll show you why. A lot of people shred it. I don't care for shredded, but this is 2 large breasts. It's actually just my wife and I could have maybe just did one, but this chicken and mole, I'll show you how to make it as this is frying up and getting going. But it's just 2 large, you know, there's what, 5 or 6 in a value pack. I use 2, I slice it all up and ready to go. Now, got this all frying up. I've got my Dino's mix that I got. You can spice it up, salt, pepper, whatever you want. This is out of sight. If you take a look at my videos, this gets smaller and smaller. I use it on 90% of all of my meals. Hit this around, stir this up, let this fry, and then we'll come back. My phone is going off just to let me know that I'm making a video. Oh, I'm supposed to learn my Spanish because I'm making something Spanish, so I'll talk like Tony Montana. I can't talk like Tony Montana. But anyway, here we go. That's frying up. Now I'm going to show you how the easy way to make the mole. You look on YouTube, there's so many methods. I shorten it up to make it really ultra easy, and you're going to love it. This is the mole sauce. It's in every grocery store. It's fantastic. Okay, some people, there's a little bit of liquid, but as you can see, this is like pretty hard. Some people take a knife. It's just my wife and I. This stuff really goes a long way. I'm just going to use a half a jar tonight. I chip it out like this, and I do it that way because it will break up easier instead of having one big clump in there and trying to break that up. You can see how it just chips out like, it's kind of strange. I get it in small pieces. I'm going to use about half of the jar tonight. And I'm not quite there yet. There, that is about a half a jar. You can see right there. That's what it'll look like. It breaks up a lot easier. Now, I forgot about popping this lid off. I can't open. See these red spots right here? That's where it wants you to take and do it to open it. And like I said, I only used half. I'm going to set that aside. I've got the chips in there. I'm going to add a little bit of chicken broth. Not all of it. And I'm going to start mixing it up and breaking it up. And it breaks up, since I chipped it, it comes out a lot easier. Or it breaks up easier. So keep on stirring, and believe me, it is going to get so thick that it's incredible. And as it does, just keep adding more chicken broth. I went to the store because I forgot chicken broth. I ended up just getting cheap chicken broth because they were out of what I wanted. There's Swanson. It's called Bone In. It really worked the first, that's normally what I use, but they were out of it. So, que sera, sera. Okay, she's mixing up better, and it'll even mix up better as I go along. When I do the whole jar of mole, it seems like this whole thing, it's 32 ounces of chicken broth. It's just perfect. It'll keep thickening as I go. So I'll keep adding and get it to the thickness that I want. And when it goes on the stove and in the frying pan, it's going to take and thicken up even more. Now, I'm going to take garlic powder, and I will take, during this video, screen will go black for a minute and I'll have all the ingredients. Garlic powder, I've got a half a teaspoon. It doesn't have to be exact. Slam it in. Garlic salt, a half a teaspoon. Cinnamon, I'm a little shy. I just want a pinch, maybe half, just a little bit. You know what I mean? Throw it in. Okay, big one. Cayenne pepper. I throw in about a half a teaspoon. If you like it hotter, put in 2. You like it really hot, put in 3. But anyway, there's the ingredient right there. Whisk that all in, and then I will come back to you, and I've got another ingredient going in. This is the hardest part of the video. In a little box like this, you find it in the Hispanic section. It's a little chocolate tablet, just like that. It's cooking chocolate. It's extremely hard, and as you can see, it takes a bit to get through it. The more that you take and chunk this up and crush this up, the easier it is for it to break down. If you took this whole thing and threw it in there, it's gonna take forever to break down, believe me. It's much easier this way. So we will stop the video and I will come back when I've got this all chunked up. It's not too bad, but it takes a little bit. It'll probably dull your knife, but it's worth it. You gotta have it. My chicken is done. I set it aside. You don't need to keep it warm. It's gonna heat wet back up when I put the sauce in. Now I've got my mole sauce that I have mixed up, and I'm gonna put it in this pan. And I almost forgot, but I'm going to need a scoop of peanut butter, and then I'm going to take and I'm going to add my chocolate in that I crushed up real fine. It's in. Here is my chocolate. And I took, and you can see I've got it all chopped up kind of fine. It's going to break down a whole lot easier. And it's gonna, instead of standing there trying to wait for the whole thing to break down. Okay, there we go. It is in. That is it. I'm gonna grab a spoon full of creamy peanut butter. I'm gonna take a big blob about like that, put it in. Away she goes. Get the heat back up, stir this up, and then take and add. Don't dump this whole thing in, because then you're going to be standing on the stove waiting for it. It's really hard to get it too thin, this stuff. So I'm going to heat it back up, and when I get it to where I want it, we'll come back to it and we'll go from there. I've got this right about the way I want it. It's runny just like that. I don't like it too runny. It will, as it heats up, it will thicken a little bit more, a little bit at a time on the chicken broth, and you're ready to go. Okay, my chicken that I've got nicely stripped up, I'm going to add that in. You know, I did 2 breasts, and when you cut it up, it kind of it makes a lot. See, it's thickening up already. I'm going to take and add in some more chicken broth. Keep stirring and mixing that chicken up, and I'll get it back to that thickness that I want. Then I'm going to take and put a lid on it and let it slow simmer for, I may as well put the rest of this chicken in. that should do it. Just keep stirring it around and see as it heats up, it just keeps thickening. This stuff is like I said, it goes a long ways, So there we go. I'm going to stir this up, get it all mixed up. It's easier to get it to the thickness you want and then add the chicken, but I tell you, as soon as you turn on the heat, it starts thickening up, and it even thickening up even more. Just keep tossing it around until you get it. Make sure that all the chicken, I'm pushing the chicken down. You don't want it sticking up, you want it down in the juice because the pieces will kind of dry out. Then I will take this lid and I'll put it on the top like this. This isn't the lid for it, but I'll let it slow simmer 20 minutes or something, just to get all those flavors all brewing together. And then when it's finished, you know, I'll keep slowly putting this in so it doesn't get too thick, but I don't want it too thin. And then I'll show you the finished product when it's all done. But that is it. It is the easiest thing in the world to make. I've got it all plated up. You can pour more sauce on if you want. When you go to a Mexican restaurant, that's exactly the way they have it, more spread out. But it wasn't that much to make at all. It's like $23 for a plate of this and a little side of shredded lettuce, and they give you some tortillas on the side. I take a little refried bean, maybe a little rice, and then I take some meat and pinch it on in there, just like you're making a fajita. Put her on in there, give it a little sprinkling of lettuce, and there she be, just like that. It's not runny. You don't need salsa. Take a bite. It's perfect.